Right. Good. Oops, 1 second. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, fellow engineers. You're all welcome to another series of webinar by the NSE, Nigeria Society of Engineers, London branch. I would say London, UK branch, because there's Londons everywhere, all over the world. Right, today is gonna be another very interesting conversation. And if I would like to, just to let you know, we're recording these webinar. So please bear with us. We're using for our own record and to make sure that, yes, we do have record for this in case other people want to review what we've discussed today. So you're all very welcome. And before we introduce our speaker for the day, I'm going to say a little bit about London branch, and also my colleague, Engineer Chio Odunlami, will also come in and say a little bit of words about London branch. Yes, we were established about 2 years ago, in 2018, one of the very few branch to be established outside Nigeria, although NSE originated from London about 62 years ago. So we're like coming back home. So you're all welcome to join us to come back home today. Yes, and since then we've been doing a lot of great work. We've been, holding seminars like these and also impacting development all over the world. But before I go any further, I want to congratulate 2 new branches that just been sorry, I'm going to keep muting people talking in the background. 2 new branches that has been established in the last few days. And that's the Manchester branch, headed by our brother, Engineer Books, Mowu, and also Engineer Sheung Adediran for the Glasgow branch. So for those 2 branches, we welcome you to the family of NSE, and to all your members, we say to you, welcome, well done. It's not easy to set up a branch, but you've done it. So well done, I congratulate you. As I've said earlier, the aim of our group in London is to share engineering knowledge, which is what we're gonna be doing today, with all our experience from diaspora, to share with younger members as well as older members or our brothers and sisters in Nigeria, to make sure we continue to develop our country. And we do a lot of work also with school kids. So we're going down to the grassroots and helping school kids to achieve their potential, become engineer, or go and do some subject that relates to engineering, medicine, science, physics, chemistry, you know it. It's all part of the economic development of the country. But we can't do this alone. So we need you, members, to come and join us. Yeah, I've dropped in the membership forms online on the chat, so you could pick up our membership form and join us to be part of this big family of Nigerian Society of Engineers in the UK. So before I again introduce our speaker for today, Engineer Aramide ADEYOYE, I'd like to share with you some of the things that we've done in NSE London branch. So let me just share my slides with you. Right, 1 second. Sorry, guys. So the conversation today will be on strategic road infrastructures, master plan for Lagos State. She'll be looking at the past, the present, and the future. But just to acknowledge all our friends and colleagues, Engineer Mohammed Babagana, the president of NSE, if you're on board, you're welcome. All the council members, executive members, and all the branch chairmen or chairwomen or chairperson, as I call it, you're welcome. Fellow engineers, associates, architects, you're very welcome. And we have people from different ministries in Nigeria, Ministry of Work, Housing, Power, they are all online. listen to these conversations. So you're all very welcome to these events. Theo.
Good afternoon. My name is Theo Olatubosun Odunlami, and I am a member of the NSE London UK branch. And as Engineer Popola has already mentioned, one of the things that we have put on ground to really kind of solidify in terms of our foundation, the fact that we want to contribute to the development of a supportive and vibrant engineering community within Nigeria. And we want to do this by empowering the public and the private sector, the academia. We want to be able to kind of harness the ability to produce and attract and retain the best engineers of Nigerian origin all over the world. We intend to do this by enhancing the connectivity between Nigerian engineers and other key professional geniuses all over the world, including decision makers. We want to look at how we can collaborate with business and public policy makers as well. We want to promote in every way investment in infrastructure, because that is very crucial to the economy of Nigeria, that is fit for purpose and improve the sustainability of Nigerian engineering projects. This is very, very crucial to our background as engineers in diaspora. We know the environment we study, we work in over here in diaspora is based on sustainability. And we want to bring that back home to Nigeria to make it viable. And in doing that, we want to build a closer and mutually beneficial link with the engineering communities in the UK, most especially bringing up the young ones finishing from the universities here in the UK. And we want to make sure definitely they are integrated into the work base and the engineering spectrum in Nigeria, so to speak. Thank you for that. Over to you, Doctor.
Right. As Bosun said, and I've said earlier, and I'm going to repeat myself, we hold a lot of seminar events. We're trying to school visit to motivate young kids to make sure they come into engineering and achieve their potential. We have mentored a lot of younger engineers to the extent we've actually helped NSE to improve the rate or the number of young engineers who wants to become members. And similarly, the Glasgow and Manchester branch have been doing the same thing. They've actually been doing much better work than London branch, I will admit that. So well done to them. And as Bosun said, we want to pick up innovation. We want to pick up research. We want to pick up things that's relevant to developed country so that we could pass it on to our own country as well. And then we will be able to contribute to that amazing development. Nigeria is so resourceful that we haven't really tapped any bit of it yet. Once we unleash the brain and the knowledge and the sharing that we've all got from diaspora, and the government give us the power or the ability to be able to come home or even do things from abroad, then we'll be talking. So thank you very much, Theo.
Yes, thanks, Doctor. And we want to more or less kind of appraise ourselves so far. Like Dr. Popola said, we are 2 years now. You are 2 years old as a body. And then we need to appraise ourselves and find out if we have been walking the talk, if we have been doing as well as we have promised. And we want to let everyone know that where it started maybe 60 years ago, we're back in NSE base, we have been able to arrange meetings and seminars regularly on topics relevant to the development of engineering in Nigeria. Yes, we had many meetings and seminars so far, and what we are having today with our Honorable Mrs. ADEYOYE is one of the most groundbreaking seminars that we have touched so far. We've had a series of seminars on oil and gas. We've had with the Standards Organization. We've been able to motivate school children to cooperate with them to take up engineering in many areas in Nigeria, in Jamaica, and even in the UK. Very prominent is about our creative projects that are being chaired by Dr. Popola in that area. Also, we've been able to arrange visits to engineering infrastructures in the UK and other countries. We did that, if not for the impact of COVID-19, we would have done so much this year. because we plan to use this year, 2020, the second year of our inauguration, as the groundbreaking year for us to do the physical aspect of our promise. And despite COVID-19, I can say, and everybody can believe, so far so good, we've been able to meet up to our expectations. We did not allow the pandemic to stop our flow of programs. We've been able to cascade all our physical programs and seminars, or even deliberations online, and we are doing one of it today successfully. And we are seeing results, because we have been seeing that the membership and the attendance have been ramping up so far. And to even more or less drive home our points, very valuable members of NSE in London, and even in UK, to be precise, have been involved in the last assessment examination for an Institute of Engineers. And that was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience, which was a successful one, which we have brought accolades from even NSE in Nigeria to that effect. So far so good, we are on board. Over to you, Doc.
Yes, as Theo said, yes, we're doing wonderful. I believe we are. We could see some of our other achievements there, mentoring young people, building capacity, research, innovation. As myself, I'm an associate professor at Imperial College London. And for us, research and technology and skill development is one of the things we really do. And that's actually how we exist. Teaching, we do teaching, but not really what we're known for. We're known for our research. We're known for our thinking, lateral thinking. We're known for innovating and bringing out all kind of beautiful things that will make people's life much, much, much easier. And for me, as I've said, and you can see on that slide, the only people that can develop Nigeria and Nigerians themselves. So let's wake up, let's join force, and let's move on. Right, these are our executives. As you can see there, myself as the chairperson, Dr. Nike Folayan, the deputy chairperson, Sheikh Bilikioy as the secretary, Emmanuel Ajayi, who is on board, I saw him earlier, is a treasurer, Theo, who we just spoke to, director of publicity, and Taiwo Oyewole, assistant secretary. So please, we're here. We want to seek new executive. We're coming to the end of our time. Please, if you're interested, you have the energy, you have the time. It takes a lot of time to do this thing, and you want to give back to Nigeria, please contact us. All our DCs are in there. Come and join us. Let's do it together. Now, with no further ado, let's get to the main point. This is our engineering webinar, LBN London branch 205. Now that what we've done 5 this year, 2020. And today is Saturday, is 19th of September. Listen, I've got about 5 pages of our speaker description here. So if I'm going to read it, it's going to take me another 10 minutes. So I've reduced it slightly, yeah, without permission, to about a page and a half. So let's go. Engineer Aramide ADEYOYE, FNICE and FNICE, sorry. She was born, I'm not going to give her age, but she was about 2 years younger than me. And she's still looking very good, just like me. Okay, in Lagos. Attended Yewande Memorial Nursery School, Surulere, Lagos, and Methodist Girls High School. Yeah, I remember Methodist Girls High School. We used to go there and do parties and all that. Lagos for primary and secondary school education, respectively. She gained admission into the Department of Civil Engineering University of Lagos in 1982 through the Joint Admission Matriculation Board Examination, J.A.M.B, as we all know it, after emerging as the best overall female candidate in the country for that year, having attained the overall score of 321. Some students struggle to get, 5 marks at the moment. In addition, she was also over the Gulf Oil Corporation Company, and now called Chevron Oil Corporation Scholarship from 1982 to 1987, where she graduated with a second-class honor upper division at the University of Lagos. Aramide began a career inclusive of the National Youth Service, and we'll call the N.Y.S.C, with the foremost construction company in Nigeria, Julius Berger, in 1987, where a love, consistent, and passion for the profession saw her work there till August last year, 2019. A doggedness, diligence, and commitment to work, while they subsequently spawned the farm on in deciding to employ and retain more female engineers. So she's not just working, she's actually bringing more female engineers along, which is beautiful, to the company, where she consistently do this. And she rose to the position of project coordinator management staff in the company, region West Africa of operation in July 2018, where she retired 2019. Retired 2019? I'm sure you're not tired. At the age of, which I'm not going to mention. She's currently the special advisor of works and infrastructure to the governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Having been appointed in August 2019 as a member of the State Executive Council, Engineer Adeyoye is a versatile engineer with proven contracting, procurement, practical field construction, supervision of projects, project management, expertise for over 30 years, having had the privilege of being involved in design, supervision, construction, contract administration, and project center around provision for building, estate, infrastructure, highway, roads, and bridges. The list goes on, but as I've said, I'm going to shorten this thing. Mainly in the area of Lagos, she's done quite a lot of work. And things like Third Mainland, I'm sure some of you have been seeing some video of Third Mainland Bridge being repaired, the joint, the expansion joint. She's involved in that. Lagos Badagry Express, Lekki Ikoyi Bridge, rehabilitation of Gashia Gari, Igomu Road, Adeola Odeku Road, Victoria Island, Apapa, my Yoruba is getting really bad. Apapa Business School District Road, Boulevard Awolowo Road, and numerous pedestrian bridges all over the state. So she's done so much. She's not just doing that, she's also being part of big professional organization. You know, she's an alumnus of Lagos Business School after banking a master's degree there in 2005. She sits on board of Lekki Concession Company, LCC, a fellow of this proud engineering association, Nigerian Society of Engineers, a fellow of Nigerian Institute of Civil Engineer, a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultant, and also a professional registered engineer with the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria called COREN. She is a ICSID, I don't know what the meaning of that, World Bank Train Investment Arbitrator. Wow, she's into money too. And attends several training conferences home and abroad. In 2016, our speaker was appointed the project coordinator to oversee the construction of new and iconic later Rain Assembly Church Complex, which is practically completed. She served in a similar capacity in February 2019 as the chair of the committee on demolition of the old and new and design of the new school block in Methodist Girls High School, Yaba. If you remember, I said to you, that's where she did her primary and secondary education, to go back and help them to rebuild the building. Oh, come on, that's amazing. I really give credit to her for looking back. She's moving forward, but she turned around and looked and said, yes, I'm going back and I'm going to have an impact in my school. Engineer Adeyoye is from Owu Ikosi, a junior local government area of Epe, Lagos State. So she's a Lagosian, just like myself, and Tom and Tio as well. She's happily married to Engineer Johnson Adeyoye, and they are blessed with 2 beautiful children. So with no further ado, I'm going to give the platform to Engineer Aramide Adeyoye, FNSE, FNICE, Special Advisor to Ministry of Work and Infrastructure, Lagos State, to give a presentation on the title of Strategic Road Infrastructure Master Plan for Lagos State, looking at the past, the present, looking at the past. She looked at the past and helped to rebuild her school, looking at the present, what she's doing, and taking us to the future. Where do we want to see Lagos State in 20, 30, 40 years' time? So, Engineer, please, the floor is yours. You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Popola. Good afternoon, everybody. The Chairman, NSE UK, Dr. Popola, distinguished fellow engineers, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I hope I'm very audible.
Yes, you are. Sorry, I'm just looking for your slides.
Good afternoon, good afternoon.
Loud and clear.
All right. Okay, so I'll just I'll give you an idea of the presentation outline that I have. I'll be speaking to the infrastructure gap in Nigeria in general and Lagos in particular. At the same time, too, I'll be talking about the overview of past strategic projects that has taken place around in Lagos, the present, what we are doing, and what we hope to do in the future in line with the themes agenda of this administration. I would conclude and then leave also room for questions and answers. I think that's what the presentation outline will look like. So let me be able to shoot on. It gives me great pleasure to be able to address this gathering and to speak to the policies and programs of Lagos State government that we have and we intend to put in place in ensuring sustainable infrastructure, given our past, present, and where we intend to be. You can hold the slide there. Just hold it there. There is no gainsaying that infrastructure in general and roads in particular are pivotal to economic growth. It's a catalyst for our Greek and mining industry, where opportunities to create jobs for the millions of female youths become available to lift them out of poverty. In so doing, we ultimately raise the quality of standard of life. The Global Competitive Report, the TS report of 2019 from World Economic Forum, clearly ranked Nigeria 130 out of 141 nations based on transport and utility infrastructure behind Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa. This, I must say, has been the trend since 2012, as indicated in the slide below. The recent report by IMF indicates that Nigeria needs to invest 18% of its GDP, amounting to about $80 billion on infrastructure before we can achieve the sustainable development goals by the year 2030. Of course, we're beginning to shift grounds now to 2050. This implies massive investments, not only in the soft infrastructure, on education and health, but also the physical sustainable infrastructure on the roads, electricity, and water. Either way you look at all of the group, all the indexes that you have, either the quality of infrastructure, the quality of the roads, the quality of the railroad infrastructure, the quality of the ports infrastructure, the quality of transport, and the quality of electricity. Either way that you look, by that index, Nigeria clearly ranks behind. So, all said and done then, where are we coming from the past? What did we do with our past? The past saw us invest. There was orderliness. There was ordinariness around us. You saw us invest massively. The petrodollar era, we had the likes of the Qatar Bridge constructed, Eco Bridge constructed, Ikorodu Road, the Lagos Badagry up to Seme border, the Lagos Abeokuta Expressway, the Papa Tinkanland, Port Social Expressway, the Lagos Ring Road, the Falomo Bridge, the Third Axle Road, the Lagos Epe Expressway, and then the Mobility Bankatole Expressway. Those are our past. And you can see orderliness around.
That's your.
So you can stop the slide there. Yes. So where are we now? We have a chaotic presence around us. It's sorry state. Indeed, a sorry state. The next slide speaks to that chaotic presence. So I will just allow you to flip up the next slide, please. Thank you. And put it there, just hold it on. So this is what we have. We have a chaotic presence all around us. The first slide speaks to the Apapa-Oshodi Expressway. Bearing in mind that it was a past project, and so all we have been doing since that Apapa port in Canada has been constructed is just to maintain that infrastructure, and we have not been able to maintain it except in the last 1 year. Some form of massive rehabilitation has taken place there. You see the next slide speaks to the old Abeokuta Expressway. It's also gridlock. You see, you see Lagos Express, Lagos Badagry Expressway. It's the same story. Just leave the slide. Just leave the slide. Okay, that's fine. So all the 6 slides speak to the chaos around us right now. It's a sorry state, and we ask ourselves, how exactly did we get here? So, and focus. The purpose of this discussion. Next slide, please. The purpose of this discussion is to provide a platform for the Nigerians in diaspora and the expatriate community to understand the infrastructure strategic master plan of Lagos and the way forward. Furthermore, it's to develop initiatives and strategies to bridge the infrastructure gap and accelerate the implementation of the road component of the integrated multimodal transport system as an enabler for economic development in Lagos State. That's the whole focal point of this discussion. Nothing more, nothing less. And I hope by the time this presentation is finished, we'll have raised the awareness and the consciousness into people, and then we know exactly how can we, as diasporans, key into this vision of making us have a greater Lagos. Next slide, please. So let's look at Lagos at a glance. Civilian, the era, the democratic government started in 1999, the shift in focus to governance to have a more inclusive and socially oriented approach. The transition and development of infrastructure to begin to support the rising and aging population. Lagos, whichever statistics you decide to go, whether it's N.Y.S., whether it's Lagos State, the last registration, you have over 22 million people. The square kilometer landmass size of 3,518 is clear. The GDP, $136 billion, and then of course the vehicular density. That's what this webinar is speaking to. With a vehicular density of 264 and with the choked network that we have around, with 100,000 vehicles per annum, and then with 70% of the total national cargo freight all passing through Lagos, the same Apapa port and the same Tinkerland port, with roads 7,500 out of the 180,000 of the national, with the current budget size of 910. Of course, 910 now because we did have a 1 billion and 28 budget size, trimmed down because of post-COVID, trimmed down to 910 billion. So that gives you an idea of exactly what we're battling with. Slide, please. So the travel demand. See the travel demand in Lagos? The demand for trips in Lagos metropolitan area by all modes, including walking, with 24 million persons per day. That's why I said a city, whichever statistics you're going with, whether it's 22 million or 24, you will hover between 20 and 25, depending on whoever you're listening with. The demand will grow. It's projected that the demand will grow to over 40 million trips per day by 2032. Then about 90% of all of this transit in Lagos are done by road. So it builds us as engineers to imagine, and for planners and transport planners in particular, to say when you have this kind of demand that is projected to hit by 2032, hit 40 million, it will be suicidal for us to have this same number of network and not expand it. So what are the areas of expansion that we'll be thinking of in terms of the road infrastructure, in terms of even opening new areas in Lagos? Those are the things that this webinar will be speaking to. You can see from the graphs, the passengers that are carried either by minibus or Danfo. You see a lot of them, the ones that cars are carrying. So the public transport system is not that efficient. Minibuses, you see the cars in yellow. Most of the cars that you see, so of course, it's not surprised that your vehicular density is as high as 264 when everybody decides to carry their cars to and from origin and destination to work. Next slide, please. So you have the Lagos mega cities mobility demand versus insufficient infrastructure offer. Next slide. Next slide, I think, next slide. So these are the key transport issues I have earlier explained. So next slide, you can shift it. So you have over, yeah, that's it. The proposed, you're going further? Okay, so that's fine. No, please scroll back. Back. Okay, so you can stop there, thank you. So the Lagos megacities mobility demand versus insufficient infrastructure offer. You can see pre-1963, Lagos as it was carved out, with less, Lagos as it was carved out with very scanty population occupying those areas. Post-1963, you began to see human settlements begin to spring up in dark, you can see the dark areas. By 1984, you saw the spread all around Lagos. And year 2000, this is where we exactly are. 2010 and beyond, what we're proposing to do is to spread out. How exactly can we spread out settlements and build infrastructure across there? The challenge that we've always had in Lagos is that oftentimes the developments happen faster than the provision of infrastructure. And then what we're beginning to have are squalors here and there, because then infrastructure is grappling behind physical infrastructure. So, next slide, please. Infrastructure upgrade 2020 and beyond. What do we propose? We propose the Lagos Strategic Transport Master Plan identifies a number of projects across each of the modes, prioritized on the basis of the TDM projections as follows: that we would have 7 urban rail lines worth about $8 billion, that we will have 9 BRT routes costing about $250 million, 10 commuter ferry routes, $110 million, 17 road projects, including the proposed ring road and the 4th mainland bridge. And the package of traffic management measures costing about $300 million. The most important of these schemes are deemed to be the construction of the 4th mainland bridge, recommended for the first phase implementation, and the full ring road connecting the connection sections ought to have started by 2020 to 2022. So this was a report as of 2012. The next page will speak to the list of all of these projects, and then you'll be able to see exactly how far we have gone and what the public perception is of the inadequacy of this public transport. So, next slide, please. So, what's the public perception? The inadequacy of public transport infrastructure, it's coupled with the traffic congestion leading to poor quality of life and suboptimal productivity. The water transport is considered unsafe, hence the low patronage. The road infrastructure deterioration, especially the prevalence of potholes, little wonder travel expenses at Lekki and advisory toll gates are nightmares. I've seen somebody ask a question, what do we want to do as a state government on Lekki Expressway? I'll speak to that by the end of at the answer and question session. Slide, please. So there is definitely a gap. The journey to Badagry from Lagos Island in the 90s was about 1 hour. It was safe, comfortable, and pleasurable. Today, it's a harrowing 5 hours or more travel, depending on the weather and several unseen conditions. The suffering is occasioned by one or more of the following: failing to adhere to planning, establishing a legally binding road infrastructure development policy framework, the roadmap, poor maintenance, abuse of infrastructure, the rural-urban migration and population increase without commensurate infrastructure growth, the stagnation of infrastructure, and the indiscipline. Next slide, please. So what's the way forward? So the key to infrastructure highway projects so that we can grow, you would see in the presentation as I go on. But for you to understand exactly what we are doing, next slide, I will speak to the team's agenda so that you know exactly what we're doing, how does it fit into our vision. So the next slide, please. So here we are. The road infrastructure, the topic of the road infrastructure is clearly encapsulated in the team block of the team's agenda. The T, of course, stands for the traffic management and transportation, the H for the health and the environment, the E for the education and technology, of course, M, everybody knows M is making Lagos 21st century economy, and of course, E, entertainment and tourism. You will see clearly, and that's where this webinar really begins to roll on further. You will see the public investment and you'll see the private investment. On what we have done on the public investment side is to normally fund with the budgetary provisions. You will see the provisions, the blue line, the water, and then the 5,000 capacity buses. That's what you see on this side, on the left side. On the right-hand side, you would see the roads and repair maintenance. You will see road expansion and traffic management. So anybody, both the public investment and private investment, anybody can play on either side of this. Next slide, please. So I'll be speaking to the strategic roads. Hold on, and this is actually the gamut of the whole presentation. The next slide. That's a list. Because the strategic master plan that we had actually told us, it's like a roadmap. It's a roadmap, and it tells us what to do, what we have failed to do, that we have found ourselves in, and how we're going to continue going forward. So you have the Osborne-Lekki Phase 1 bridge to connect Osborne Road, Ikoyi with Lekki. This will ensure that you can bypass Falowo Bridge. This has already been done. You have the Ikorodu-Langbasa Ekpe Expressway, also known as the Fort Milan Bridge. And then part of the ring road creates an additional connection between island CBDs and the mainland. As I speak, that procurement is ongoing, and I'll speak to it as I go on further in my presentation at what stage of the process we are in, what the length of the road is, and you will see it there. Number 3, you will see Ayobo-Iba Road to provide service for developing areas of Alimosho. This is in view. It's a total length of about 13 kilometers based on the route in that STMP as at that time. You will see Abule-Egba Ekoro Ipaja Road. That's also in view. You will see the Ijegun-Egba Expressway with direct link from Ijegun to Trade Fair along the Badagry Expressway. You would see that as well. It's in view. Then you will see the Ikorodu-Ishawo Ibadan Expressway to provide link from the developing area of Ikorodu to Sherry and Ikeja. It may also serve as an alternative to the Ikorodu Road. That's in view as well. It's supposed to be a length of 18 kilometers all through. You will see number 8, Okpebi Mende Bridge. That's also in view. It's a total bridge length of about 1.4 kilometers to bypass the present Okpebi end, cross the gorge, and then be able to link up to the 3rd Axial Road, back up to the 3rd Mainland Bridge. Next slide, please. Next slide. So you have the Baijaniking Road, which is a total length of about 10 kilometers. That's also in view. And then you have On number 10, you have the ADEYOYE State Ejigo Road. It's like you're creating a link between two residential areas, all in total about 3 kilometers long. And then you have Ogudu GRA, Lakpere Bagada, that busts out at Bagada. So it takes off from Ogudu, the present Ogudu Road, and then like a bypass across into the third axial road. Length of pass from the chronic traffic congestion around mile 12 market area on Ikorodu Road. It's in view as well. It's an 8-kilometer road. And then you have the Amatio and the Lyris, the Greek Road. That's also in view. You have the Ayobo Barua Idimu Road. That's also in view. And then the Ring Road Ibafo to Pinkan Island. That's in view. The Ring Road from Coastal Road section, it's about 34 kilometers. That's in view. A lot of people have wondered what exactly is happening to the Coastal Road. That's number 16 on this list. I will speak to that as we also go on. Flyover from Mokpebi Mende Ojota, creating a link between two roads that decongest the traffic on the Ikorodu Road. That's in view as well. It's a length of 1 kilometer. So these are the list of the 7 strategic roads that have been proposed as far back as 2012. And you will note
sorry, we've lost you a little bit there. I think she's reconnecting. This is when you have issue with broadband here. I think we've lost our speaker. Well, let's just give her a few minutes. She's trying to reconnect. Let's just give her a few more minutes. I'm really sorry about this, guys. I mean, this is what happens when you have. This is one of the things we have to deal with these remote presentation.
Am I audible now?
You're back. You're back. Yeah.
Am I audible back?
Yes. We lost you for about 2 minutes, so you may have to go back. I think you're on item number 16.
Okay, so I was speaking.
Yeah.
Coastal Road section, and I said that's a road that has far back for the last 15 years it's been on the pipeline, and a lot of people have been wondering what exactly are we doing with the Coastal Road. I will speak to that as we go along in the webinar. Congesting traffic to Ikorodu Road, and then just taking you down to Top Axial Road in the event that you want to go back to Third Mainland Bridge. So those are the roads that have been identified in the STMP, of which most of them you can clearly see that most of them you had a lot of in view, and then part is ongoing. You will see some that is ongoing there. And that's why this kind of webinar is good, because you're speaking to the aspirant audience. They will understand where we are, the gaps that are available, and what we must do to bridge this gap and how they come in. So that's the nexus between all of us in this discussion. So the project. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so where are the projects on the, so these projects have been three senatorial Lagos Central. Under the Lagos East project, that's where you have the likes of the Fourth Mainland Bridge, you have the Lagoon Road, you have the Regional Road, you have the Coastal Road. But for the Coastal Road to fly, which is the reason why a lot of people are asking what is happening. Number one, that alignment is heavily encumbered as we speak, heavily encumbered. If we decide to go along with the project the way it is, the amount of compensation that acquisition and compensation will far outweigh will be a huge chunk of the cost of provision of infrastructure in that place. So we're having a rethink. We're looking to see exactly how we can optimize to get that alignment workable for the Coastal Road. Aside from that, there is need for us to be able to fix the problem of the shoreline. Everybody knows that that area is, a lot of coastal erosion that is taking place there. Until we address that shoreline erosion, it will not make sense for us to embark now on the of the road. So the next road also under focus is the construction of Itoluwo Agbede Ishawo Road. We're already, that Ishawo Road, Agric-Ishawo Road is already is ongoing as we speak. So I think that in another 1 year to 1.5 years, that project should be finished. Construction of Eita Ojokoro Ishawo Road, and then construction of Taiwo Street by Chinatown Ojota. That construction of Taiwo Street by Chinatown Ojota is already also on. That's the one that we say it links from main of the road across up to the Todaxia Road, and can take it also down to Bagada. From the Northwest Senatorial District, what you have is the Lagos-Badagry Expressway. Lagos-Badagry Expressway, like you know, the initial Lagos-Badagry Expressway was built in the 70s, 1976. That's a road that led from Erikmo down to Seme. For a lack of maintenance, that road, we got it all wrong somehow with our maintenance. And so it cost us rebuilding it. In starting to rebuild in 2010, the construction of the 10-lane expressway started right from Erikmo up to Kokomaiko. And then, of course, the federal government is taking up the Kokomaiko end back to the Semi-Badagry. Speak. That's including of figures coming on the rail on the blue line. On that side. So as a government, what we're looking at is to finish that road up to Okoko, including that blue line. While we take on the red line out of our capex. We'll take the red line out of our capex, and we're being creative about it. What we're essentially doing with the red line is to get a consortium of banks and use their CRR ratios. So normally, rather than just mop up money and have your CRR ratios just to mop up liquidity in the system, we ask ourselves, can we not channel this mopped up money into dedicated infrastructure? And so the red line is one of such projects that the mopping up exercise is there to take. So about 94 billion of money is dedicated towards the red line. Just the provision of the line itself, of the rail line itself, excluding the coaches and other stations, but basically to provide the track. So that's one creative way that we have done, and I think that the conclusion of that, the financial closure of that, would happen any moment from now. So the next project on board is the Mende Ogudu, third mainland bridge by Orishoki. The Mende, it's also a project that is in the pipeline. It's one of the things that is there to this administration. As we speak, some investigation is ongoing around there so that we can see exactly how to cross over that bridge over the gorge. The alignment has been known. I will speak to the conceptual drawings that define the Mende as it is as of last month. The construction of Aito Ashikpa, the patent Ayobo Igodo Link Road, that's also ongoing. And the construction of Ijegun Abaronje Road. Ijegun to Abaronje Road is yet to be awarded. It's something that is proposed. And then the Ijegun to Ijeododo. The Ijegun Ijeododo has been awarded very close to the pipeline. You know, there was a far pipeline about 5 months ago in March or April. And that road is essentially to get just to the end of that. There is a bridge linking that Ijeododo and eventually takes you to the Abule-Ado, and from there you get onto the Lagos-Badagry Expressway. So in all of this, there's a connectivity. There's a connectivity that you can make sure that people, the journey time, make Lagos, the network, as linking as possible from the east to the west, all around it. So those are connecting routes in each of the senatorial districts just to make accessibility faster and easier. So for the Lagos Central roads, their purpose to the express, one of the things or the projects conceptualized is the Okota purpose to the express with the Lord's Chosen. There's a link bridge by the Lord's Chosen Church. You also have the dualization of Babs Anima Sham from Bodethamas Junction to Adilabu. That's something that is already ongoing as we speak. The contract is already on. And there's construction of Awudiora, Olodia Papa Road with link bridge in Ajeromi. That's yet to commence. And then the construction of Amukoko to Ogbowanko Link Road Bridge in Ajeromi. You will see the Lagos West roads and what exactly links of those maps together. From the Lagos Badagry, you will see from the Lagos Ibadan Expressway. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. So, the connectivity from the Okpebi, so this is it. This is where we are. I spoke about the Okpebi, I spoke about Lagos Ibadan Expressway, and I'm on the Lagos West roads, and I'm talking about the link bridges. link bridges right from Lagos-Ibadan Expressway all through the Okpebi link, back through Ojota-Ikorodu Road, and then back again on this. The whole idea is to be able to create a bridge or a link across that actually connects everywhere. You can see all of the settlements and the built-up areas that we have, and that's the challenge. We're having to pass, so you have existing network, and you're trying to build a bridge. You can see Okpebi, and you can see Mende in Ikorodu. So that's Okpebi Mende Link Road. That's Lagos West Bridge. So, next slide, please. So, Lagos West and other roads. What you have here is a standard Ikeja, the strategic roads that we have in Ikeja. And that gives you how many lanes that you have. So a list of all the roads that we have. Lagos-Ibadan, the road. I'm speaking to the number of roads around that are roads, all the connectivity along the Lagos West and other roads based on the maps in the next the slide previously. Next slide, please. So this is the conceptual drawing for Mende Okpebi Road. This is something that we're yet to start, even though soil investigation is ongoing. The whole idea is across the gorge, right from Okpebi, crossing over the gorge, Okpebi, and you link Mende and cross over to Ikorodu Road, but also with a bridge by the existing, with a new bridge by the existing old bridge that is now linked to the third axial. So you actually see the loop. You can see the Ikorodu Road alignment as it is with the cars there, and then you see the yellow, you can see the loop now, the leg of the bridge that essentially is to ensure that you decongest the traffic around there at the same time, open up into the third axial. So next slide, please. It's also in our purview, as time will permit us, we have in mind to take on strategically the road very close to the airport in trying to decongest the old Abeokuta Expressway to try to Airport Road. You can see the alignment, the two red alignments now all linked out, and it will cross over. Lagos Abeokuta Expressway and be able to link the other parts of the Dokamu and out there. So, next slide, please. For us, one of the things that we forgot to do as a nation, and I will say it in the era of the petrol boom, because I grew up knowing there was an Abuja-Sokoto road. From Agbara. In fact, you will see the pair of the bridge. That was a project that was conceptualized in the 70s and started execution of it to the late 70s. At Agbara, you have, so they are Lagos to Sokoto, from Badagry end down to Sokoto. That's a road that the federal government is attempting to build with investors that shortens travel time from Lagos to Sokoto. So the normal detour from Lagos to Ibadan all to Ilorin, out before you take Kaduna, Abuja, you can reduce the travel time from Lagos to Sokoto. That, as we speak, the OBC cases are ready. The outline business case for them, they are ready. So it gives room for investors to come in to say, this gap is there, we recognize it, and then what exactly can we do? I will speak to all of the PPPs as we go on. So that's the hold on to this. So this is the fourth mainland bridge as it is proposed for 2019-2020. Now we started showing fourth mainland bridge. Next slide, please. Stop. Yes, thank you. So what are we intending to do? Fourth mainland bridge is something I worked on third mainland bridge in 1988, 89, 90, and so it's like it's taking us over 30 years to build another bridge after that. The new fourth mainland bridge is a 38-kilometer road. The alignment in 2016 is different from the alignment that we have in 2019. One of the considerations in the alignment, number one, is now there is you will still have your origin from Bramadesoya at the Bramadesoya roundabout, passing through Langbasa. Langbasa, you take some settlements around Bayeku, and cross over crossover hitting the Ogun State reserve area to the left. The previous alignment that we had in 2016, from Bayeko side, you would go straight up north. But we decided to take advantage of the fact that the Lagos-Abuja route, we are trying to link to the Lagos-Abuja route, which makes journey from Lagos-Abuja shortened to 5 hours. So it's a connection now, so the alignment has been slightly altered, just to be able to give room that we are able to leap out onto that advantage that we can actually get an investor willing and wanting to take up on that project because you'll be taking the Lagos to Abuja end of the road. And so it's a 38-kilometer long road. As we speak, I will tell you, we are in the stage 3 of the RFP process. So let me speak about the Fort Land because I think that's what interests a lot of people. In last year, November, I think our trip, this one of the things that this administration we told ourselves, we asked ourselves questions. Why is it that this project has long been bogged with a lot of issues? And one underlying thing was the fact that maybe there was no transparency in the process. So as a government, we told ourselves, let us do this right so that the outcomes can be right. We told ourselves we'll do our advertisements, our EOIs, our expression of interest as transparently as possible. So engineering news, journals, we will publish it. We'll give everybody the same level of opportunity. And I'm glad to tell you that was widely, a lot of people showed interest. I think 52 people in number. Yes, about 52 people in number. So part of our efforts aimed at decongesting the metropolis to redirect and ease traffic congestions along existing highways and serve as an alternative route to the eastern part of Lagos and the journey of the Fort Mainland Bridge, which started about 20 years ago, has become top priority for this administration, leveraging on private sector partnerships in the delivery process. Last February, a request for qualification was issued in respect of the project, whereby 32 firms who expressed interest were shortlisted. 10 responses to the request for the qualification were received from interested applicants. The bids of these 10 applicants have been evaluated and 6 successful pre-qualified bids or requests for proposal stage has been announced. So exactly where we are in all of those processes, the next slide speaks to that. Can we have the next slide, please? Next slide. Next slide, please. So this is the 2016 alignment of the Fort Mainland Bridge, which has been slightly altered now because number 1 is the residential development, the expanse of land for real estate, that it is conceived here, does not conform to EIA requirements. So that's why I said we've tweaked that alignment slightly. Number 1, to fit EIA requirements. Number 2, to make it also investor friendly, that we can, as a state, leverage on the Lagos-Abuja end of the route, just be able to drive revenues for whoever the PPP investor would be. So where exactly we are, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. So this, I think I just explained all of this. Next slide. Next slide. So people have asked how transparent this is. Like I said, one of the first things that we did was get financial transaction advisors to this process. I'm happy to announce Messrs. Ajayi are the legal advisors to the transaction. For KPMG as the financial transaction advisors, and then the technical advisors, AEC Rendell. The Rendell Group, everybody knows the Rendell Group from UK. So in partnership with AEC, they are the technical consultants, aside from the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure and the Office of PPP. So it's a consult. So you have five of us working on this project. As I speak, we are in the stage 3 of the process. So from 52, we came to 32. From 32, we came to 10, and from 10 we're at 6. We're at 6 numbers. So a lot of people have asked, it's mostly, why is it that it's only mostly the Chinese? And I'll tell you something that will be very real with you. Right now, the only where you will get the money from, and if we must read with ourselves, is from that continent. And that's where the diasporans come in, because we can galvanize. If we feel very, very strongly, I often tell people, it does not matter where your money is coming from. It's the process, the transparency of the process, and then the transparency of the people that you are put in to see to this closure of this transaction. That's important. What exactly are the wordings of the agreements that has been drafted? Oftentimes people take everything for granted. There are specialists for it. Whatever you're not a specialist, don't attempt it. And there are investment arbitration lawyers. They are different. A SAN is not a SAN does not necessarily have to be an investment arbitration lawyer. These are arbitrators who are used to, so they are ICSID. I heard somebody say something about what is ICSID. Well, so ICSID is an arm of the World Bank. It stands for International Settlement for Investment Disputes, International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. They are specialized areas of arbitration. It's not an arm for everybody. It's related to investment disputes in the event of disputes. So what am I saying? When your transaction advisors are seasoned, you have your technical advisors being also sound, you have your office of PPP, and then you have your arm of the ministry as well. So whatever gap, whatever capacity gap that is not there, and you have gotten all of these people, and they have the free hand to be able to work. I think that people must be, as a nation, we must begin to trust ourselves. I know for too long, a lot of things have happened, but there comes a time that you have a generation who says, I think we have had this, and can we not try something different? And I think that's where we are as a state, to say what exactly is it that we can do things transparently and get the desired outcomes. And so that's why this discussion is germane. It's for the diasporans to believe in us, to see the transparency of the process, to see exactly how they can collaborate with us, and let us see how we can exactly raise the vision of Greater Lagos. So we are right now at the RFP stage. People have asked why the Chinese can collude. Why is it that it's only Chinese? It is the Chinese only now because they are the ones who can put the money, the finances down. But that notwithstanding, there is another arm. There is a Chinese-Portuguese arm. So if you look at the list of the people, the 6 people who have qualified, 5 of them are Chinese. 1 is Chinese-Portuguese. So it's Martin Engel. So there are 6 of them. There are 6 of them. So you would see the list. You would exactly see the list of the people that have qualified in that process. So, and if you go to the website of PPP, because from time to time at each stage, at the end of the expression of interest, we did say, these are the names of 52 people. When we finished the request for qualification, we came back, we announced to the whole public, these are the next set of people. When we said the request for proposal, these are the same set of people. And I will tell you honestly, there is no form of interference. You need to see the score marks, the technical considerations, the score marks. These are people who all they do is PPP. It's not everybody that has capabilities for PPP projects. But you will see the extent of the thoroughness of all of the transaction advisors. Without interference, they come in. So it's not about sentiment. It's about who is bringing in the money, but it's also for us as a nation and as a state to see exactly how is it that we're wording and crafting this agreement. Looking at the sensitivity around, as people asking to say, are we sure that the loans or whatever is being done is done to the advantage of the states? And that's why I said something. I said, for too long we have done things in a haphazard manner. It's time for us to get it right. Getting it right starts from your transparency, ability to see things and be open. This is exactly what we're doing. So that people can come in. And as a government, everybody will tell us, we always engage. This is what we want to do at every stage, at every.
I'm sorry, guys, we lost.
So we are going into the EIA. We're going into the EIA stage. I think next week, Thursday, the Minister for Environment is coming down to Lagos just to be able to sign off on the EIA studies so that the investor, whoever the final investor, has an opportunity to have that EIA report, which is already ready. So that's what we have gone on the 4th million bridge. So the next stage. Next slide. Okay, so just as we have, because I'm speaking to projects in the Lagos East zone, I'll be speaking to the 2 projects that are also available for PPP initiatives. These two alignments in the new quadrant, this is the Lekki Free Trade Zone. You can clearly see the port area, where right now you have the port area where the Czech company is building the port, and directly opposite it is the Dangote refinery. But there are two road alignments that go through the north-east quadrant, and there's another one that goes into the northwest quadrant. Those are 2 roads with bridges spanning across the lagoon. They are up, but if you do the PPP now, because of the number, of traffic, it might not make economic sense now. The return of investment that you might get might be a little bit skewed because of the volume of traffic now. But with the completion of that port and with the development of the new airport that is springing up, and the volume, the ADT values of the traffic that is projected to come on, then of course your NPV begins to be positive and your ROI obviously begins to rise. So those are 2 projects that are slated for PPPs in the next year. Next slide, please. So this for me is a clincher. And I'm talking about Omo Creek, the link road, and the bridges. The first, if I go back to the very first slide where I said the settlements in Lagos, I was showing the small settlements that Lagos had, and then as the settlements grew bigger and bigger, and the need for infrastructure to cover around all of those settlements. Omo Creek represents a new expanse of land. It's still on Lekki Expressway, but with a different alignment. So this alignment, there's an alignment now. You would see it's right opposite Crown Estate, and so you have the link bridge. It's a bridge, you have a road, and of course you have an approach bridge, and then you have the bridge itself about 550 meters. The designs are completed, the costing's done. It's very early in the year. Next year, the award and the construction would commence. What that does, with the completion of this road here into the hatched brown area, is a large expanse of about 4,000 hectares of land. That is the proposed, it looks like the new Lekki Phase 1. A lot of people, as young people, they missed out on Lekki Phase 1. And they will always tell you Lekki Phase 1. But the dream of Lekki Phase 1 for most people appears not to be too much of a good dream, because at some point in time, all of the developmental needs and the things that we proposed then were not fully implemented. And so there were some gaps. But this new expanse of land that we intend to develop with the bridge, with the large wide three-lane dual carriageway bridge that we intend, and then the approach bridge as well as the network of roads in that estate. It's like opening up a vista of opportunity, because the bridge takes you to the estate, but that same bridge will connect to the Lagos Lagoon Highway, and also will link up to the regional road that we're currently we've awarded, and it's about to start. It's actually started, the crime process has started. You will see all of the mathematics surveys have been done. The sounding's done, the DPR radar test done. So I think by next month, the contractor is beginning to do the piling works will commence on that bridge, on the regional road. So that's a 9.4 kilometer bridge from BDC all through the Kota River and coming out of the Freedom Road, and then just before the Orange Island, and will eventually connect to the Lagoon Highway. So that's the joke for us. That is one way of decongesting Lagos, particularly around the Lekki axis corridor. So, next slide, please. So, aside from all of this, I've been talking about roads, but the tunnels, as we speak, we also have some investors with four tunnel projects, and they're currently doing investigations around the Lagos Coastal Corridor, from mainland to Marina, and then the mainland to Federal Palace, and the Lagos Lagoon Tunnel project in Ajegunle. By the time they finish, the large expanse of land around the Snake Island, you will see the expanse, the vista of opportunities that tunneling opens up, because it then makes this land around the Snake Island free for use, because that's the area of the tunneling now. And you can see that area is connected in tunneling. That's the tunnel route. The whole idea is to tunnel it, and so I can serve that mainland. That's why I said the route, that's the route. The Lagos Coastal Corridor, the mainland to the marina. So that's also ongoing as I speak. There's an MOU on it, and the investigations are ongoing. So next slide, please. So those are the routes, the mainland to marina, all the various routes that the tunneling is looking at, and the opportunities for real estate. So where does this all take us to? It all points to the pointer, the alternative funding. You cannot go this route looking for this infrastructure by way of the traditional mode of finance, by way of your budgetary provisions. It's way beyond your capex. So alternative funding comes. So there exists a funding gap with regards to infrastructure needs in relation to the budget size of the state. As we continue to focus on infrastructure provision, revival of key projects, and bold reforms in related spheres, The consensus among policymakers necessitates partnerships with the private sector, inclusive of those in the diaspora, to develop and finance infrastructure projects. The huge pipeline or amount of infrastructure projects in the states awaiting financing necessitates the need to create an infrastructure fund, which can benefit from funds from the diaspora. In the last few years, Lagos State government, in tandem with international best practices, has passed appropriate laws to enable public-private partnerships, PPPs, thrive, and instituted regulatory reforms. However, there's a constant issue where, as a government, we see investments not forthcoming for projects and investors complain that there are not enough bankable ones to invest in. So how might we as a government accelerate and help fund project development? The keys are to get the incentives right from day one and to create a government-backed diaspora project development fund, which will work through a joint project development agreement between the government and the proponents. The two entities could share project development expenses and work side by side to develop a project. Two, the Diaspora Infrastructure Development Fund will share some of the upfront costs associated with developing and bringing the project to financial closure. Three, the Infrastructure Fund will require a dedicated project team to work alongside the proponent or developer who will liaise with the relevant MDAs to secure all permits, licenses, and approvals. Choosing investors or project development professionals will be critical to running the project team, as their experience could help ensure that the project is structured and bankable. In conclusion, in concluding, I've painted the gloomy picture of the funding gap. From past, the present, where you require about $100 billion annually, and that what future looks like ahead in terms of infrastructure. We can only have a quantum leap only if we galvanize the funding from diaspora in form of a bond. It's evident from this presentation that opportunities are bound for private sector collaboration. The Office of Public-Private Partnership exists to fulfill such mandate. Furthermore, the ease of doing business has also been simplified. So we look forward of having you on board in the journey of taking the infrastructure need of Lagos to greater heights. We are open to ideas, suggestions, and feedbacks from the diaspora. Thank you for creating time to listen. A greater Lagos together, we can. Thank you. So the floor is open for questions, and on the chat.
Thank you very much. You've really taken us on a very long journey in a very short time. So we're really happy for your presentation. We're excited. Flurries of questions has been coming in. I'm struggling to keep, alive and keep awake with all the questions. So I've got some questions in the chat room, which I'm going to allow people to come in and ask, or I could read out them myself, or otherwise, please, if you want to ask a question, raise up your hand. I've got a couple of things I wanted to say before that. A couple of big boys and girls are online, and I want to acknowledge the like of our past president, Engineer Ademola Olorunfemi, FNICE, Engineer Ibukunle Ogunbayo, my brother. I haven't seen you for so long. You're welcome to join us today. My colleagues right here in the UK, Engineer Tony Ajala, I could see you there as well with your bald head. Well done, come on board. Thank you very much. Right, let's get down to the question. I know you're ready to fire and answer these questions. Right, okay. Engineer Olorunfemi, I know you've raised up your hand, so if you like to unmute yourself and tell us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Engineer Dr. Popola, my friend for close to 20 years now. I want to congratulate the London, UK branch and Engineer Popola. This is awesome. And I'd like to congratulate the guest speaker, my sister, the special advisor on works and infrastructure, the very, very brand new fellow about society. Congratulations. I sent you an WhatsApp. Very proud of you. On a personal note, I never knew my friend is your husband until when I saw him coming after you. But I don't have his number again. I've not seen him in 15 years or more. I want to congratulate for this road show. This is a road show, and you've done extremely well. I am proud of you. The presentation, the facts, the articulation, and you can't do this physically and don't spend 3-figure millions. And this is what you have in the present of the diaspora are waiting, and I can assure you that they will jump into it. I've been on a few platforms, and they want to know what it is. for me, your closing was excellent because that is the high point. It is not the technical. I mean, most of us are not tunnel expert, bridges, and all of that. I'm a fit person. But in the closing, it is about the funding. But before then, it's about the process. Sorry, it's about the process, the transparency. Yes, I agree. And if China is not going to get money, fine. I can say a few questions and everyone. It's not for, it is for you as a person looking for partners to do the needful. And that you've done. And with the area of consultants, social advisors and all of that, you can miss it. But as much as possible, I think what we have done, let us engage our own colleagues. I'm sure you're doing a lot of that. The engineer Ogunbayo of this world and co will fit into all of these. I'm not marketing anybody. What are the conditions should be that all these foreign consultants, KPMG, even fund providers, let there be a proviso for
local representation,
local content, local representation, internship. Please bring in current, bring in NSE. What you're doing, I'm sorry, I can't see Nigeria do it, but it's awesome. It's awesome. Please accept my congratulations. Congrats to the government. Please go learn and bring in all the relevant things. You've been doing that, and I know you will do that a great deal. I'm sure you are shaking hands with ICRC, Chidizua, and the like. Please go ahead. Congratulations. Sunday, great one. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't think you need to answer anything there. We can also compliment. Yeah, I don't think the president asked any question there, right? I'm going to allow a guy he was the first one to log on to this webinar today, Engineer MKO Balogun. Please unmute yourself and ask your question. I know you've taught quite a few things, and I'm struggling to catch up with everything that you said. So if there's any patent important question that you want to ask, please, this is the opportunity for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to our guest speaker. Good evening, my senior colleagues in the engineering profession. My name is MKO. My comments and questions are related to road construction without drainage. Part of the challenge of Lagos is that if you look at Lagos, our roads don't last 2 rainy seasons. And basically it's because there is nowhere the waters go. So it's important for government to focus on developing roads properly so that we can have, number of years the road are expected to last. Second question is maintenance of roads. I'm not sure there is any structure, even from the presentation. You said that there are some roads that collapsed because of lack of maintenance, but there is no plan that I'm aware of that Lagos has put in place to maintain roads. The third question is has to do with Lekki corridor, Lekki-Epe corridor. Most of the roads are in very bad shape. People spend 3, 4, 5 hours every day on the road, in and out. What's Lagos doing about that? The fourth has to do with the red line. I listened to your presentation on what government is about red line. This, for me, is a great opportunity for PPP. There's no need for government to be involved at all in whatever form. It's population numbers to support 100% PPP on the red line. And I want to encourage that you should consider, bringing investors to take out that. Railing, we generate revenue for anybody who's putting investment in railing Lagos. There's a lot of movement, as you have said, as you have shown in your presentation. People will prefer to put their cars down. When BRT started, people were parking their vehicles and using BRT. That tells you that people look for alternative means of transportation if it's available and convenient. Those are my comments and questions. Thank you.
Thank you. So let me just shoot first. Let me thank, I don't know, maybe let me take those first 2 questions and then so that we don't, thank you, Femi. Thank you so much. Exactly, that's what this presentation is. It's a road show. It's a road show. It's not meant to speak to the technicalities. We're all engineers, so I will assume some basic. I'm not coming to speak about the design, the cross sections, the shape, or the terrain, or what exactly we have. But it's a road show that we're telling you as a government what exactly we intend to do, where we have challenges, and how you can come on board, collaborate with us to achieve the desired success. That's what this webinar is all about. to Engineer Balogun, thank you so much for your questions. One of the things I always say is a road is as good as its drain. Anytime you see a good road, don't look too far, the drain is good. And if you see the drain bad, in no time that road is going to be bad. Yes, it's true. I said it earlier in my presentation that oftentimes you find the infrastructure running behind physical development. People will have built houses so it's a problem that we have, that we are not able to move fast ahead of physical development, and we end up having to, whatever space is left, we just manage to put the road without having the appropriate outfalls. So this is a challenge, and we are beginning to address them. Part of addressing them is that's the reason why, as a government, we told ourselves we will not waste money anywhere where we know we have challenges with the outfalls. We will sort out those outfall issues and then fix the road. And that's precisely what we have been doing. We have begun something by changing the specification of our payments. Since we came on board, the first set of things that we did in the first 2 months was to establish the SOPs, the standard operating procedures that tells us exactly what we must do, how we must do it, and why we're doing it. That is already been instituted with the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. So people, they know exactly what to do and how to do it. We've also gone a step further ahead by increasing the specification. Everybody will agree with me that for most of the roads, whether truncated roads or whatever, the limits of what the dead loads, the HV loadings that the accelerator trucks are carrying, they are no longer what it used to be. So even for semi-rigid pavements, we have upped our spec. Instead of the 30 MPa, we are going as far as 45 MPa. We're changing some of our roads now to rigid pavement. The Ikorodu road, because of the accidents, and we don't have weight bridges anymore anyway, we've lost that culture. So we are beginning to have a lot of our roads in rigid pavement. The Radio Road is one road that is already around the Lagos State Fair Abule Ado area. That's one road the Lagos State government is doing. It's in rigid pavement. It's ongoing as I speak. Ikorodu Road is also in rigid pavement. The road that leads to the Obashe Kumade that leads to the jetty is also in rigid pavement. So we're doing all of this one just to be able to up the spec, because we know that number one, our habits, the flexible pavement, our drains, most times are not self-cleansing enough. And even when they are self-cleansing, we always clog the drains with all of these non-biodegradable products that we put in the drain. It's a challenge for us. So with the Office of Civic Engagement and the Office of Environment, and working out the policies and programs to address all of those infrastructure abuse concerning facilities. So the maintenance structure, we do have a maintenance structure. The Office of Public Works Operation is an arm of government that is under this ministry. So we have a zero tolerance pothole program, and we also have their programs for the sectional repairs and for rehabilitation. There is a criteria within the available funds. And what is the basis for it? It's a connectivity. So you look at your major materials, you look at and tell yourself which roads will connect. Once you do this, once you fix this, and you're able to connect and then take the other distributed roads. So we have a program and we follow that. It's totally in place. So the fact that somebody, and I often hear this one, oh, I see them doing this road, and they have not come, PWC has not rehabilitated, and I'll ask, what is the name of your street? Already the database for the roads, right from the state government roads, the local government roads, the state government roads, and the federal roads. So there is a compendium that you have, that on the finger of your button, you can press the road, it will tell you exactly what that road is, the length of it, the status of it, when it was repaired, when last it was repaired. It's taking time to compile this one, but I think people can see the bigger picture now, and they understand the need for this kind of data, so that we can move on. You talked about the Lekki corridor. It will be very surprising that I will finish this webinar and people will not ask me, what are we doing about Lekki corridor? Last year, about the same time last year, from Awoyaya down, if you recollect, everywhere was terrible, was a mess. We tried to fix, we did some rehabilitation and fixed and resurfaced. But like I always say, that road, when it was constructed in the 80s, it was constructed as a rural road. It was a rural road without any outfalls. That was the greatest mistake that we ever did as a state, because then we would have taken that right of way, we will have opened up the outfalls to the lagoon. Unfortunately now, it's a lot of pain. We'll have to demolish some structures to be able to make all of those outfalls possible to discharge into the lagoon. But in fixing that Lekki corridor, we'll have to do that so that that road can be sustainable, and then we'll change the pavement to rigid RCCP. Mrs. Dangote did approach the state government to say they were willing to take the reconstruction of that road from the Lekki down to Ekpe, including having a clover leaf that takes at the junction of Ibeju Junction, that takes the traffic because of the volume of traffic expected from the Dangote refinery down. to have a clover leaf there and then set the traffic back to a point so that at least you separate the traffic coming from the two sides. The consultants are Mr. Jolas, Alaji Shagaya, Jolas. The design is near completion. The costing has been done, and we're almost at closure, financial closure to that. But pending when that financial closure is coming, as a state, we owe it a responsibility to Surulere. We are doing some palliative works, and I'm sure by the time we finish all of these palliative works, before the end of the year, we can get to financial closure, and we can have something done similar to what he's doing on the purpose of the expressway. So,
thank you very much. Question from Olarati.
I was going to answer his question on red line. I just said it now. The 94 billion we had, it's totally a PPP. That's the way to go. Government has no business in being in business in some areas, and that's exactly what we did. We're providing the rail, and then get investors to handle the booths, the shelters, and then the stock. So we separated them. We'll handle us and let investors come on board to take that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Engineer Aloz Okezi, can you unmute yourself, please? I know you've asked quite a lot of questions, and I don't want to read everything out. So please select one or two and post your question, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I know I've said quite a lot of things, but I'm not sure I can keep track of them now. But let me just touch on maintenance. I don't know if the government is considering adopting a performance-based maintenance model for maintenance. It's more responsive. You get better results. I'm not sure government can handle it properly. If you outsource it to private sector, I guess you have better outcomes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, engineer.
I cannot agree. Thank you. I cannot agree much more than what you've just said. Sometimes the private sector, they're in best position to do these things better. So we're looking at some high streets and get some managers, not the typical highway street managers that people think they clean the road. No, that's not what you look at. So that's not, the KPIs are defined for them. The time to fix the potholes, the time to address the street lights, the time to fix the drains, block drains, the time to address to even broken down cover slabs or walkways. So we're looking at pilot projects, 12 high streets that will concession out and then see people, once we run that pilot one, then the others can follow. So we're thinking of something like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Engineer, I don't know if this is your name, but Lenovo is a laptop name. Lapi, please ask your question. Lenovo Lapi. Hello, Lenovo Lapi. Right, okay, let's move on to Engineer Diron King. Please unmute yourself.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Diron King. I just want to make some comments. Thanks for the presentation, Engineer ADEYOYE. But my question is in respect of the Chinese companies. I did write on the wall that I beg to differ that the Chinese are the only ones that can fund projects. But I'm just wondering, why is it that the Canadians, the Americans, the Germans, the Italians are not ready to come in? Why is the project only attractive to the Chinese? I think, I may be wrong, but I think I understand why. But maybe you need to tell us, why is it only the Chinese? That's my first question. My second question is about how you have this system of roads. You have listed so many roads, and I can categorically tell you that this number of roads that you want to construct, there are just too many. I live in Canada, and even Canadians, the province don't have this many projects. If you're telling me that this project is going to be 10 years, 20 years, maybe yes. But this is just a lot to do within 3-4 years that your administration is voted in for now. The other thing is, just for a background, I was the project manager infrastructure for the first BRT that was done in Lagos with Lamata. And presently, I'm handling a bus rapid transit in Canada that is about $1 billion. So I understand very well public-private partnership. I understand different types of project delivery methods. So what we have in Nigeria, having these investors coming from outside, if we are not careful, we will just impoverish our people. Because when investors come, everything you've talked about is private investors, investors, investors. When investors come, they come for the profit. How do they make their profit? From charging toll on all these roads. So let's look into that so that our people will not just continue to be paying indirect taxes. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer King.
Okay, so to your question, Engineer King, thank you. You did ask, you said, why is it that only the Chinese? Like I said something, when we started this process, we decided to be transparent and we said this advertisement will, International Engineering News, I think for 1 month or so, or 6 weeks, for 1.5 months, from November to December, when that application for expression of interest closed. It was posted all of the dailies in Nigeria, internationally, and which other journal? So there were 2 international and then all the local dailies. And then we described the project, we said exactly what we're doing, and at the cutoff date and time, the bid closed, and like 30 minutes after that one, we opened, so we knew who had applied, and then at each stage of the way, we did announce where we are, what exactly who and who had. So if somebody did not believe, if you don't believe in something, you will not make an application. And so it will not, and I will tell you something, I think there was an engineer, there was a German engineering firm, if I'm not mistaken, Julius Berger that did apply. There were Italians also, there were Russians who did apply. So they did apply, and I think they got to the 2nd stage. So you are looking at a stage 3 now, where you have only 6. And why are they dropping? Looking at, so you have financial transaction advisors, they are also looking at the books. The KPI, the marks, the scoring sheets, you will see the technical considerations, the weighted scores, technically, financially, your turnover, your experience in PPP. So it's not enough. So it's not the technical skill because you know how to build a bridge that will qualify you. I think that's often the problem that most of us have, to say, why is it that it's only this, with only these people that are coming up? It's the experience in PPP. I often tell people, it's what you want that people will give you. If you want something and you want the standards entrenched, you can get it. And you can, once you communicate, this is what I want from day one, you can get it. There's nobody who doesn't. So I think it's all about we as a people, what do we want? And if we want the best, and we tell ourselves it's the best that we can get, nobody else will give us something else that we want.
Thank you very much.
I know where we didn't chart tolls. Even in China, they chart tolls. I was in China in November, and almost every 1 kilometer, you will see the toll plazas are there. The roads are good, but you pay the toll. So the sensors are there. You don't. The only thing is you don't pay your cash. It picks your number. It's there. The sensor, it picks it, and it hits your plus. It costs money. Infrastructure costs money, but so it's a price to pay between having good infrastructure and being constrained and not wanting to have. And I'm telling you, like, see, with power, a lot of people are paying more now, but they are happy. It got to a state that people were willing to pay a slight premium to get that regularity in power. And I think that's where we found ourselves. You talked about the BR, so the roads in Lagos. So if I've answered your questions, why are there only Chinese? I think I've answered that. Why are they charging tolls? I think I've answered that. The roads, you said the roads are in large numbers. That presentation speaks to the Masterplan, where it says these 17 roads are strategic. They are strategic, and you must do these ones, do these ones. And you can see if you are ongoing or not. So it does. That does not mean that the 17 are what we are doing all at the same time. The ones we're doing, I think there are about 3 or 4. And I often tell people, government is a continuum. when you come in, it's not everything that must be brand new. If the wheel is not broken, there's no need to fix it. We've met the flyover at Penn Cinema. We met it at about 15 or 20% stage. And by next month, as a government, we will finish it. It has taken commitment, but it's a will to finish. Why? Because it fits into the team's agenda under the transportation and traffic management of this administration. It fits into it. So you will not deliberately abandon the project and say because it didn't start under the last administration and now somebody else wants to start. And no, it doesn't run that way. Government is a continuum. And we're sensible about it. And that's exactly what we have done. So deliberately, consciously and deliberately, we have gone to finish it. We have put our skin in it, and by the grace of God, next month, we will finish that project.
Right, thank you very much. I think you've done that question a lot of justice there. Well done, thank you. Engineer Olumide Martin ADEYOYE, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question? I know you've typed a lot of questions on the chat as well. Well done. So please select 1 or 2 maximum so that we're able to ask other people to come on and ask their question too.
All right, good afternoon, everybody, including the Honorable Special Advisor, if that's the case. All right, thank you. I'm going to just, bolt on 2 major topics. One of them is the apparent lack of published and enforced standards in a lot of infrastructure and in a major sector of a segment of the economy, socio-economic impact of that. And I think that's a major area that the engineers, in diaspora can help and contribute to the state environment. And by lack of published and enforced standards, I'm talking about standards, in population, growth management, such as, okay, in every region, how many policemen, police units, or how many fire departments, or how many schools, do we need to have per regional density, for example? And then also the standards on drains, canals, desilting standards and all these kind of things. A lot of communities have been left with no option but to actually help, build some of these drains, to be able to just be able to live a normal, lifestyle. But because there are no published standards, they pretty much build whatever they like. And at the end of the day, this sometimes contributes to the infrastructure deficit, that we're talking about, that later cause long-term problems. And then also areas such as, traffic planning for every regional area. Because one of the things that we saw is that in the past, like the special advisor said, that we made a mistake with the regional road, the Lekki Express Road, but some of these things, I believe growth should actually precede infrastructure development. So if we've made these mistakes in the past, what are we doing right now to make sure that the new developments and build-outs that we're going towards, and all those areas, these standards will be embedded in all those plans. And then the second question, just the final one, is that the funding, my brother, recently said, I also believe that, a lot of these funds, because we have the population density and the numbers, I think that some of this funding should actually come from inside, so that so that the investors, for example, can just focus on putting in their money and then getting back their returns, rather than putting in their money at the same time presenting, project companies that would also, execute some of the projects because they're putting in their money in these projects. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you. I will just go straight to the point. You talked about population growth management. It is true. Like I said, the population size and the land size, they don't speak the same. Lagos is one place that for every hour, you have over 100,000 coming, and with 7% of them never going back. You ask yourself, where are they staying? If we're not careful, everywhere we'll just be swallowed. Like I said, development keeps going rapidly, faster, and then you find roads and infrastructure tailing behind. And that's what exactly happens. You're now challenged now as to how you want to open up, how you want to decide your outposts, where would they be, because all of those developments are taking place uncontrollably. The Office of Physical Planning is alive now to responsibility, and if you the last 1 month to 2 months, you would actually see the stance that this government is taking on non-conformance to adherence to model plans and infrastructure plans for a particular area. It's like a zero tolerance that we are operating either for areas that are designated for commercial that people are doing for residential. Also detail as well the container trucks and people who are building without permits. All of the aberrations that we've found in the last 4 years, we're beginning to address them. So population growth is a challenge, and it will take, I know it's a national thing. You cannot as a state declare and proclaim some laws because they won't work. It's a national thing. So hopefully, maybe at some point in time, government will decide to limit the size or number per family. Until that is done, we'll still have to manage ourselves the way we are. As to the drains, the canals, and being no standards, coming on board, one of the first set of things that we tried to do was, like I said, establish the SOPs. Get right from the grassroots, the local governments, to understand there is need for capacity development even at that level. So some form of training and collaboration, even at local government level, is already ongoing, so that they can understand as a state the policy that we put in place, and then for them also who are closest to the citizens at the local government levels and wards to understand exactly how all of this they play out. Even right at the building stage level, for surveyors to be, when they build, so that they can build control developments, a surveyor at a local government level to be able to establish TBA benchmarks for people to know exactly how they will build, so they can build right. So there's so many things that there is something in the last 1 week, I think there's a policy that we have done now as an administration. We're trying to encourage local government chairmen who show capacity and enthusiasm to want to develop, to kind of incentivize them to draw from a particular fund of money, addressing concerns around primary health care, around road maintenance, around cleaning the environment, road maintenance and environment. So in 4 categories of areas, we have set the KPIs. They can draw up on that fund, subject to meeting some criteria, just to encourage them. Because some of them are, I cannot speak for everybody, but there are quite a number of them that are doing well. Bariga is one chairman that I know well, that as the chairman of Bariga local government, who has shown that and has demonstrated competence and capacity to want to improve. And he's doing that in the programs and the infrastructure project that he's putting on board. That kind of person deserves to be encouraged. And as many of them that are willing and ready to show capacity, the state government is willing to encourage them, they can drop on that fund based on the criteria and the KPIs that we have done up. That KPI was done up, I think 2 days ago, it was sent into finance, just to be able to encourage them. So we're trying to harmonize standards across the LGAs and then just be able to have sanity around there. For the Lekki Expressway, I just told you, it is a road show. The road show where the new Lekki Phase 1 will be is Yomo Creek. That's one, it's 4,000 hectares, it's like a new Lagos. And definitely everybody will hook on from that Lagoon Highway to the regional road, and then you can also come out. So if you want to come on Lekki Expressway, fine, but if you do not, from there, from the bridge, you come on the Lagoon Highway. And then ultimately it's the Fourth Mainland Bridge. So that's a new place to look up.
Thank you very much for that. I'm conscious of time. I don't know how long you want to continue this question, because I've got about 10 people on the list I want to, down to ask a question. So if you permit us, we'll continue for another 10 minutes. I've got Dr. Larry Jones. Unmute yourself and ask your question. He's not an engineer, but I think he's got some people with money. You're talking about investment, driving in diaspora to bring in money. I think he may be able to help on that. So Larry.
Good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Dr. Larry Jones Esson. Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the lovely presentation. And the chairman, thank you too. I really, really appreciate this. I'm the chairman of London Academy Business School based in Yaba. And I believe we can work together with Madam. The 2 things I want to mention is this. Lagos State citizen have what we call low maintenance culture. And we are not culture or maybe concerned about our own environment. I think if we are trying to put together a very lovely road network this way, we also need to teach the citizen to develop a bit of maintenance culture that will help them. That is good sanitation, hygiene, all of that very, very important. I think there's need for training for that as well. I think it's important. And two, government policies in terms of PPP need to be revisited. For example, I have some job I did in Dubai. Before you actually set up a company in Dubai, you must actually employ 1 Emiratis, and then they have 51% of your share. You only have 49% as a company. So which means you are conditioned to have citizens of that country in your project. So I don't think we have that, because right now I've seen Chinese coming into the country, but bringing in criminals and people to work with them and not even speaking English, and they're not even using enough of our people. I might be totally wrong with that, but I think the majority of things I've seen is in that case. I believe it's important that we also empower our own citizens to work with these people. So if they leave, we can maintain what they leave behind. Because what I see, Chinese are coming in, bringing equipment that reads Chinese, and we don't speak Chinese in Nigeria. So when they leave, we can't maintain those machineries. So we have to call them back to come and maintain it. So I believe it's imperative that we also say anything they're designing for us has to be in English so that we know we can maintain them afterward. But they also have to train our children. That is one thing. And I also believe that we also need to kind of curb a bit of Chinese investment in Nigeria, because these guys are out to take out everyone. Indians are already very conscious of their involvement in their cities. I'm not saying we shouldn't use good things, but we need to kind of have policies in place that doesn't allow us to kind of say, here we are, take us, that kind of a thing. So I think it's important we do that. So that's what I want to make sure we do. So please, Madam Speaker, if you're using Chinese people, please have your policies from the government perspective tight enough to show that they come in, use us, but when they leave, we can also maintain it ourselves, not them coming back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so let me one more question from okay, so you want me to respond to this quickly? In terms of maintenance culture, I don't know, maybe it's Office of Civic Engagement, and in partnership with Minister of Environment and myself, they are beginning to sensitize the citizenry. I keep saying it, when you have this infrastructure, they will work for you. They can only work for you when you take ownership of them, when you don't abuse them. A situation whereby the government uses taxpayers' money, and taxpayers' money, your own money, and then people go to either capacitize our infrastructure, remove the manholes, pour refuse in the drain, burn tires on the road, on the flexible pavement, clog the drains. They don't augur well for sustainable infrastructure. So Office of Civic Engagement is already in the process. They're engaging the citizenry. You see a lot of jingles come up on board now, I think in different languages. And then teach the people like civic studies in school, even the young ones, to understand that this is not the way to live. Lagos, it's predicted that Lagos in the next 30, 40 years, the Lagos will be underwater. It's below sea level, but the things that the global warming, you will see the rise in tidal level. So even this has not, so given that this is going to be as is predicted, we should not even accelerate things the way we do. Clogging the drains and then doing all of this, they don't augur well. And so for me, one of the things that I've said, the Office of Civic, they're doing their best, but it feels each and every one of us, even the young baby, the baby of 1 year old, right from school, not to throw, if we teach them, don't throw litter on the road, on the floor, they begin to pick it at that age. Teach them while they're young. And I'm sure they won't go far from it by the time they're old. So the government policies of PPP, we also note it, like I said, you get what you want. When you open your eyes very well, you look at the clauses, anybody can bring, I note what you talk with the Emirati, which is true. We can revisit all of the PPP laws. There's some laws that right now we need to, so that they make them enabling for us and they are sustainable for us as a nation. We can revisit so many. That's why we need the collaboration of the diasporans. So we can look at this together, suggestions, we're open to ideas. So it's not as if we know it all. That's why we're engaging. That's why this is more like a roadshow.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Engineer Babatunde Dosumu, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Madam, let me first of all congratulate you for a brilliant presentation. And I wish you many more goodies in life. Now, you made mention about strategic road infrastructure. My first question is, why can't we be thinking of strategic rail infrastructure also? Because we know that, well, if we have to actually move some things via the rail, the roads we are building will actually last because we are not going to be exerting much pressure on the roads. Then number two, you discussed about past, present, and future. In the past, we had more than enough resources to toy with, and we are not conscious of what will happen in the present, and we're not thinking of the future. Now, as a cost expert, one of the few things that causes problem is cost variation. And when you're talking about cost variations, there are some risk aspects that are not built into cost. Take, for example, political risk, security risk, and some other important risk. So how, because you are just speaking transparently, you are not a politician, you are a core professional. And you did actually, spoke to the rudiments. So how can we ensure that while talking about infrastructural development and while we are preparing estimates, we build into the estimates risk pertaining to politics, pertaining to security, and then pertaining to financial issues. Now, while presenting, you did make sure that, well, at a point in time, there was a flyover that was actually handled by a previous administration. You never abandoned it. You completed it. And I mentioned about rail now. I'm aware of metro rail as far back as the days of Alhaji Lateef Kayode Konde. It was abandoned. Up till now, it's not completed. So that's a very good alternative. And as an essay now on infrastructures, how are we going to be sure that projects embarked upon are not abandoned at the expense of politics?
Okay, good question. Thank you so much, Mr. Dosunmu. You mentioned strategic infrastructure and you said you were wondering why rail was not there. I did mention the rail. The red line is the national rail. It's linked to the federal. We saw the advantage because by taking up the national rail now, the signal will, Lagos State and the federal will be able to use the same signalization that they are using at the Butemeta. So we do not, because if we do not use it now and they program it, we cannot come back as a state and then want to do that same red line because it's already programmed. So we decided, but where are we going to fund this infrastructure? And that's, we were being creative to say, okay, CBN, all of this mop up, when you mop up money to keep in the vault of, that's be able to control liquidity. When you mop it up, can you not channel this mopping up towards specific infrastructure? In this case, red line, rail. And then of course, CBN agreed. So you saw those consortium of banks, they were able to provide 94 billion for us so that we could link up from the parts that Lagos State needed to do to join the national red line. And so that has already been finalized now, and the financial closure should be signed next week. So it was like just being crazy to say, mop up the CRR that you mop up, rather than put it in the vault of the bank to mop up excess liquidity, let us channel that money towards funding the red line. So the red line is likely to even finish faster than the blue line that we started many years ago. So
thank you.
I think that answers that. Political risk, there's always political risk everywhere. It behoves whoever is the contractor to look at what kind of projects are you doing. Is it, and you rate it, is it a project that is desirable, that you know that even after successive governments go and come, that project is still relevant? Or is it a project that speaks to somebody's, that does not fit into the strategic master plan of that state? I just told you now that as a government, and I'm sure even if it was a different party, but coincidentally it's the same party, but I'm sure that anybody, any planner, any engineer, when you see that project, Pensinema, you will not think otherwise but to conclude it, because you know that by completing it, you'll be solving a lot of traffic gridlock, and so it's the only natural thing to do. It makes sense, and that's what we have done.
Thank you very much for that. I'm a bit concerned. We've got 2 more minutes. I'm a bit concerned that the men in this platform have hijacked all the questions. So I'm going to allow Engineer Yetunde Olowe to please unmute herself and either as a comment or question, whatever you have to say. We have to have that number here today, please. Engineer Yetunde Olowe, please unmute yourself.
Engineer Yetunde Olowe.
Go ahead, please.
much for the presentation.
I think our internet is lagging behind, but she can type the question.
She's go on.
Okay, I will go to my question. I was in Nigeria 2 years ago, and I noticed the roads on Lagos-Abeokuta Express Road. The way the construction was going, it was in bits and pieces all over the road. I don't know why we do construction like that, and we don't start from one end and finish at the other end. It causes a lot of chaos. So my own question is, can we improve on the way we do construction? I was going to ask a question on why do we do so many projects at a time, but that has already been answered. So I am just putting my view in, when we are doing construction, can we start one end and finish at the other end and not just do it in batches all over the whole stretch of the road? I don't know, that's my own sort of a view, not a question. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. She's the only woman that has asked questions since I came on board.
No, we've got another one coming. We've got another one.
Okay, so I'll just go straight to the point. Thank you, madam. Okay, it's true. When you said Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway, that's a federal road. So one thing that is peculiar, it's a budgetary provisions. Oftentimes, I can speak now that I'm in government. You are limited with your budgetary provisions. And so it builds on us as technocrats or as professionals, even as civil servants, to try to structure how the progress will be in line with what is the provisions made in the budget. You can budget if a project costs, for example, 200 million and the budget provision is just 20 million. It means that it will take you probably 10 years to be able to finish the project. So you see the contractor doing in bits and bits, stopping, asking for cost overrun, because you do not have the funding. Otherwise, there's nobody who wants to be stopping and going, stopping, breaking. It's just about the budget process. That's why we said this infrastructure gap is always there. It has always been there, but only that it is now, it's a little bit highlighted and heightened now than ever before. Other dimming revenues from oil, gas, it's the revenues, other in taxes, and then in oil, prices, the shock, the devaluation. So there's so many factors that are making the revenues low, and that translates also into what the FAC allocation will come to be, and then the IGR of the state, and ultimately in the budget, either as a federal or as a state. So when you see the contractor working in bits and pieces, it's coming from the funding. It's not the correct way to go, but that's what exactly happens. Right, so to your question, as a government, and I keep advising, my work is that of a special advisor. I give my advice. They are professionally based. So when we try to encourage a lot of corporate bodies to come into participation with government. So one of the things that we're doing also, a creative way, is what we call the PIPP. It's private investment, public investment, infrastructure provision partnership. So you have the corporate bodies coming to say, we want to partner with you on this road. We'll take it up, we'll adopt it, we will build the road, you give us the right of way, and in exchange, what do we give them? You could give them rights, like advertising rights. They could put their company, maybe year end, they do carnivals, or light, Lassa. So there's so many creative things that we can do. A typical one is Zenith Bank on Adesa Dogun. Zenith Bank on Adesa Dogun was constructed by Zenith Bank. Right now, Access Bank just finished the network of roads in Oniru, ready to be commissioned on Thursday. Just as they are doing that, as a state government, we have also gone behind and cleaned up Olumide by Mobile. We've cleaned it up. So the whole of that network up to the ShopRite is all cleaned up. That's PIPP. That's the only way that we can get all of these things done. We have to be creative, because if we wait for government alone cannot do it all. And that's the essence of all of this roadshow, to bring to the fore exactly what these gaps are and what can the diaspora do to rejuvenate this. So in terms of bonds, I've seen somebody ask a question to say, are we not looking at bonds? That's why the diaspora bond is there. The financial experts in the room can This is opportunity. I tell people, I just said this is where the new Lekki Phase 1 is. Anybody who missed out in Lekki Phase 1, you have an opportunity with the Omu Creek. Once that bridge is constructed, is finished, that large expanse, it's a calculated development that will take place around there. And because you have thought of it, the infrastructure around it, in terms of the Lagoon Highway, in terms of the regional road, and in terms of the Fourth Mainland Bridge. So leaving you to leave off the Lekki Expressway. If you want to come in Lekki Expressway, fine, but otherwise you have 3 alternatives that will work for you. So that is something for people to dream about, to say, how can this be? And that's why I expect investors, real estate people should be coming, oh, what will government do if we take this expanse? What can we do? So I've opened, it's like opening up that land opens up vistas of opportunities for development.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're going to ask Engineer Christy ADEYOYE to ask the final question. Gentlemen, I know you've already raised up your hand, but we're exactly on the hour, and that's where I would like to finish this webinar. So if you haven't got the opportunity to physically ask your question, please type it in the chat room, and we'll be able to come back to you. But I'm going to give the Engineer Christy ADEYOYE to ask the final question before we round up.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to just say congratulations to the NSE UK branch for a very interesting and topical webinar. Thank you for organizing this. And of course, congratulations to my sister, Engineer ADEYOYE, for a very informative, very interesting, very well articulated and very well presented lecture, or will I say.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, ma'am.
What I'm talking about, you talked about, somebody mentioned, why is the government not looking at performance-based maintenance model? And of course, you've also mentioned that, the government cannot do it all. So I want to throw this open to my colleagues who are here listening. This is something for us to think about. We don't want to wait for government to call for, to send out a request for expression of interest. Let us also put something together and go back to government and say, look, we will see these roads, we can do it. We want to advise you and we are ready to do it. So I'm just talking to ourselves now. This is something for us. Government is asking for help and we can jump on board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Is that just a comment? You are not going to respond to that?
It was a comment. It was a comment. That is right. Like I said, we're looking into that. The first pilot of roads, which we have articulated, the performance-based measures, we're trying to articulate them now, and then start on a pilot scale. And then after I said it earlier on, that's why I didn't respond again. I'd already
okay, that's fine. That's fine. On that note, I'm going to allow the gentleman that has been typing vigorously on the chat. The name is SEG, S-E-G. Please unmute yourself and ask just one question, please.
Oh, SEG. Sorry, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. I'll just pick one of them since you permit me only one question. So I mentioned that there are quick wins that we can make today in terms of interventions that will reduce traffic gridlock, by those ones that humans are causing by abusing the road, stopping it discriminately and things like that. Those are quick wins. It doesn't need a lot of money to fix. What are we doing in that space? Thank you.
Mr. Fred, I could barely hear you. The baby was crying.
I know. I couldn't pick the question up myself. You want to repeat your question again without the noise from the background?
Okay, let me go again. So my question was, there are quick wins in terms of how we manage even the limited resources that we have. If we have little, the onus is on us to even manage it with very, very intricate skills. But unfortunately, driving around Lagos, we find a lot of human activity induced gridlock. People parking anywhere, selling wares anywhere. So even if we build a 5-lane road, but we've got nothing strong to prevent people from abusing it, we'll be back to ground zero. So the question is, what are we doing in that space? I've got a ton of other questions. I typed them there for time's sake. So thank you very much, sir, for allowing me to ask just this one.
Can I
Thank you, Mr. Fred. Thank you, Mr. Fred. Absolutely, you're right. You can build even 10 lanes. If people, their mentality is, if I don't bring my wares onto the roadway junction, if I don't put my wares on the walkway, if I don't put my wares at the junctions, I will not be able to sell. Then of course it's chaos and gridlock everywhere. And it starts from educating the citizenry. The Office of Civic Engagement is beginning a program. What they do is essentially to engage the public and then bring out all of these skills and exactly what it costs, so that the consequences of their actions can be clear to them. In the coming months, you should see them with their programs roll on board. They're doing that as regards drainage management of the outfalls, the drainage outfalls. You're seeing them with also the trading activities. You're seeing them with the one-way driving with LASMA. So they're engaging the public in several areas of abuse. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. It's been wonderful. I'm going to say sorry to the following people: Engineer Anyide, Engineer Bello, Ogunleye, Adara Modu, Adeleye, Lenova, Engineer Adedeji, and so many others have raised up their hand. Unfortunately, we can't keep going. Otherwise, you know, our 2-hour slot will be over. So before we say thank you to Madam Speaker, just a couple of announcements we need to make in terms of our London branch. We have our next webinar by, oh my God, who says that engineers don't have fun? This is our next engineer in water, air, swimming away, Engineer David Amaku, MNIC, a project manager for Lens Construction, a big construction company in the UK. He's going to be talking on the 3rd of October. This is going to be part of our Nigeria Independence Day celebration, as well as in the UK, we have what we call this Black History Month, which is October. So we have 3 webinars coming up in October. And this is the first one. Engineer David Amaku going to be talking about guidance for railway investment project. We've been talking about investment today. So he's going to show us how it's done in the UK, from conception to delivery and closeout. Follow that, we're going to be working or in collaboration with a branch in Abuja, the Buhari, sounds like Buhari, President Buhari branch in Abuja. We're going to be working with them to deliver a presentation by myself. As you could see, I haven't delivered any since we started about 3 months ago on affordable housing in Africa, the use of modern method of construction. This is going to be very interesting. So I'm going to be giving that on the 31st of October. We have one in between that, but it's not quite confirmed yet. That's why we'll miss a date in between, but it will come. And then coming, this is wrong, coming November, we're going to have Dr. Larry, who spoke earlier. He's going to be talking about the infusing knowledge management in higher education in sub-Saharan Africa, and use Nigeria as a good example. So very interesting series of 3 presentations that we're going to be having in October. And then we think it's all over. It's not over yet. I mean, we're just having our webinar. We're finishing at 4. In an hour's time, the Glasgow branch, they're going to be having their second webinar based on the topic by Mr. Graham Mitchell on the topic of hazardous area classification in industry and legislation. Again, this is very, very important for Nigerian cities, the conversation here. So please come and join us in about an hour's time for another very interesting webinar. And then on the 29th of September, again, another branch that has been inaugurated, or not inaugurated, has been established in the UK, the Manchester branch, under the leadership of Engineer Books. They're going to be talking about evolution of metering, the gap, the way forward in Nigeria, and what are the issues. Yeah, all these facilities we're providing, power, water, roads. How do we make sure we get effective metering system going on? Yeah, on that, I'm going to invite my colleague, Theo Odunlami, to give you closing remarks. Engineer Theo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for a wonderful time. I want to say once again, thank you very much for being with us for so long, having this webinar. First of all, our profound gratitude goes to the executive members of the National Society of Engineers in Nigeria who are on board. We say thank you very much, honorables. Our colleagues all over the world, from Canada, from America, who took their time to wake up early for this, we show our gratitude as well. And most especially, our profound and unalloyed gratitude goes to the speaker of the day, Engineer Aramide ADEYOYE. We really, really thank you for taking your time to really give us in-depth analysis. What I noticed throughout this, the presentation was your passion, man. Your passion was so evident. And it makes me feel proud to be a Lagosian. And again, at the same time, being a Nigerian, also most primarily to be an engineer for that matter. So definitely, I can sense your passion. And we have the same passion over here. And also, I want to say thank you to all other non-engineers on board. You have taken the pain to spend your time to talk about our dear country, Nigeria. And I believe it's an opportunity for you to come on board as maybe kind of protege members of the engineering community if you want to. It's not only about engineering, it's about coming together to see how we can build the country from the diaspora. We have people who are very good in CapEx, people who are very good in OpEx area, people who are good in program management and planning. We have people who are good in middle risk management. Someone has just spoken about risk management. And we're having a webinar from somebody about the Lagos Business School as well. So you can see it's not only about engineers, about everybody coming together, collaborating to bring the best out of the country. There was a time of brain drain. Now we are reversing the brain drain now by coming from diaspora to impact the country. And I think it's a good way forward. Thank you very much, because this has been a trailblazing webinar. And we hope to have you on board very soon to see now, then, and here we are now. And on behalf of the NSE London UK branch, we say thank you for taking your time to be on with us. And we hope to see you very soon. Also, we want to invite you to join the NSE London UK branch. If you are interested to be an honorable member of this lovely body, you can see the text on the slide there. You can WhatsApp to 44795-735-7079. 44795-735-7079. Or you can use the email that is showing there. And we believe definitely you've had a wonderful time. It's a time well spent. And definitely by the time we meet again, keep winning. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. I've just dropped a form in there for you if you want to become a member to fill. So if you don't mind, can you please unmute yourself so that we'll show our appreciation for the Madam Speaker?
Thank you. Thank you.
Your appreciation, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Madam.
Daniel, you okay?
Thank you.
Madam, thanks so much.
Thank you very much, madam.
Engineer Tukola.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We are looking for ways in which we can obviously invest in that project as well.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So we'll talk to you soon later.
We'll connect you and we'll go and have a meeting in Lagos.
Yeah, sure.
Doctor.
Yes.
Thank you for your wonderful
Thank you very much, Joe.
Yeah, I would have loved to chip in on 2 areas, but we can take that off the line now. We're
connected to them through Chevron.
Okay. I'm just thinking about the time that
we continue the conversation, but we need to get ready for the Glasgow presentation.
Yewande, 081. No.
We had about 160 people. Yes, my president.
Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done. Nice one. Well done.
Thank you for your continuous support. I don't know where you get the time from. Are you retired?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
You're always there. Every time I go to any engineering conference, you're there. Your energy, share some with me, please.
Thank you very much. You create time for what is meaningful. And don't forget, NSE has honored me greatly. So
you're giving back.
I cannot do back. Cannot be too much.
Thank you. That's good to me. That's good. Mr. Daniel Coker, well, nice to see you again.
Daniel. Honorable Shagumati, how are you, sir?
Well, I'm gonna stop recording now, and I'm gonna cut everybody off. So have a beautiful day, guys. This is the end of another beautiful seminar by the London branch of the NSE.